welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're tackling something that, well, probably affects almost everyone listening. That feeling of being glued to our screens. We're getting into this idea of a digital detox.
Right. But let's be clear, this isn't about suddenly going off grid completely.
Definitely not some extreme tech exile. It's more about, finding ways for you to get a bit more control over your time, your attention.
Exactly. Because it's so easy to just fall into reacting, isn't it? Ping, notification, check.
Constantly.
So the goal here really is figuring out how to shift gears, how to be more intentional about how we use technology.
Yeah, and our mission for this deep dive comes from actually a really good conversation I heard on ClarityCast.
Yeah.
Lena and Jay, they called it digital detox, how to unplug and reclaim your focus.
Ah, okay.
And we want to explore why we feel this need, this drain, and then look at some practical steps you can actually try.
And what's useful about their take, from what you're saying, is it sounds very relatable. They're talking about things we all probably experience day to day.
Totally. It doesn't feel preachy, just real. Digital detox now. What's the core issue?
Well, fundamentally, it's about the sheer amount of digital stuff coming at us all the time.
Right.
Lena and Jay brought up the statistic. Apparently, the average person touches, taps, swipes their phone over 2,600 times a day.
Wow. 2,600, that's a lot.
It is. And when you hear that number, you have to ask, right, how much of that is actual productive use versus just reflex?
It's reflex checking, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's broader than just the phone these days, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. That's a key point. It's the smartwatch buzzing on your wrist, the laptop notifications popping up, the tablet right there.
The smart speaker listening.
Huh? Yeah, even as Lena and Jay mentioned, all the smart home devices, they all add to this constant low hum of notifications demanding bits of our attention. And this leads to something they called continuous partial attention.
Continuous partial attention. That really captures it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That feeling of being scattered, never quite fully there.
Exactly. You're sort of half listening here, half checking there. And the thing is, there's a cognitive cost to that.
Right.
And our brain is constantly switching like that, even for tiny moments. It makes it really hard to focus deeply on any one thing.
Which is where, the good stuff happens usually. Creativity, problem solving.
Precisely. Lena and Jay talked about how this impacts deep work, creativity, but also our sleep patterns can get messed up, and even just the quality of conversations we have with people face to face.
Okay, so that paints the picture. How can someone listening figure out if this is maybe something they need to address? Are there specific signs?
Yeah, Lena and Jay had some really good prompts for, self-reflection. Like, ask yourself, do you feel genuinely anxious if you realize you don't have your phone on you?
Uh-oh, maybe. Sometimes.
Or are you constantly refreshing feeds, pulling down to see if anything new popped up, almost without thinking?
Guilty. It's almost automatic sometimes.
Right. And here are a couple more they threw out. Is a screen the very first thing you look at when you wake up and the absolute last thing you see before you fall asleep?
Oof. That one hits home for a lot of people, I bet.
And maybe the biggest one. Do you ever just lose time? You start scrolling and suddenly an hour has vanished and you're not even sure what you were looking for.
The scroll hole.
Yeah.
Just sucks you in.
It does. But, as Jay pointed out, feeling these things is super common now. There's really no shame in it.
Okay.
It's more like these are signals, maybe little flags telling you that your attention might be getting pulled away more than you'd like.
Got it. So flags are up. What can we actually do? You said it's not about checking the phone.
No, definitely not.
So it's about finding some sustainable ways to manage it.
Exactly. Lena and Jay use this great phrase, boundaries, not bans.
I like that. Boundaries, not bans.
It's about building a healthier relationship, a more intentional one with our tech. Not just cutting it out entirely because, let's face it, that's not realistic for most of us.
True. So what are some of these boundaries, practical examples?
Okay, so one simple idea is starting or ending your day screen-free, maybe the first 30 minutes when you wake up or the last 30 minutes before bed.
Just carving out that little buffer zone.
Yeah. Instead of rolling over and grabbing the phone, maybe you just stretch or look out the window or read an actual paper book before sleep.
That does sound calmer. What else?
Another one is try deleting just one app. Pick the one eats up your time the most and just take it off your phone for, say, a week. See what happens.
Just an experiment. Interesting.
See how you feel, what you do with that time instead. They also mentioned something pretty cool, switching your phone to grayscale mode.
Grayscale. So black and white.
Yeah. Apparently, it makes the screen way less appealing. All those bright colors are designed to grab us, right? Grayscale kind of dulls that addictive pull.
Huh. Never thought of that.
Yeah.
Takes away the shiny.
Exactly. And then there's the idea of creating scroll zones, or maybe no scroll zones is better.
Yeah, like what?
Like, designate certain places or times where phones are just off limits. The dinner table is a classic one. Or maybe no phones in the bedroom. Or the bathroom.
Huh. Yeah, the bathroom scroll's real.
It is. But these little rules, these zones, they just help build awareness around when and where you're reaching for the device.
These all feel quite manageable, actually. But what about that urge? If you put the phone down, what stops you just picking it right back up? What do you do instead?
That's absolutely key. You need to consciously replace the habit.
Right.
Lena and Jay emphasize finding analog activities you enjoy. Maybe it's journaling, maybe going for a short walk, doing a few stretches, or even just being bored for a minute.
Allowing boredom. That sounds radical.
It kind of is, but our brains need that downtime, that unstructured time to process things. And another simple tool they suggested, airplane mode.
Ah, yes. The classic.
Use it deliberately. When you need to focus on work, put it on. During dinner, maybe. It's a really effective way to just cut off the interruptions proactively.
Okay, so let's say someone starts trying these things, little boundaries, replacing screen time. What changes might they expect to feel? Mentally, maybe.
Well, Jade did mention that initially you might feel a little twitchy.
Huh. Digital withdrawal?
Yeah, something like that. That urge to check might be strong at first, but if you stick with it, people often report feeling more present, more aware of what's actually around them. Thoughts might feel a bit clearer, less jumbled, and your ability to focus on one thing for longer might improve.
That sustained focus. That alone sounds worth it in today's world.
It really does. And the Clarity Cast folks also mentioned some research. Apparently, even short digital breaks can lead to measurable stuff like lower stress levels, genuinely better sleep, and even improvements in cognitive performance, like thinking sharper.
So real, tangible benefits.
Yeah. Beyond those, there are the more qualitative things. People sometimes say time feels like it slows down a bit. Conversations feel deeper when you're not half distracted. Just a general sense of being more grounded in your own life.
Rediscovering those moments we usually fill with scrolling. Okay, but realistically, many jobs, family life, it all requires being connected to some extent. Completely unplugging isn't always an option.
No, absolutely not. And that's crucial. This isn't about being unrealistic.
So how do you set achievable goals here?
Lena and Jay had good suggestions for this too. It's about finding your right balance. Maybe you aim for one day a week that's significantly screen light, not totally off, but much less.
Like a low-tech Sunday or something.
Yeah, exactly. Or maybe you establish certain focus hours every single day, say 2 hours in the morning, where you really try to avoid non-essential screen use.
Okay.
And a great tip they had was to stack these screen-free times with something you enjoy.
Stack them? How so?
Like, decide your screen-free hour is also your enjoy a really nice cup of tea hour, or your listen to an album all the way through time, or go sit outside for 15 minutes time.
Pairing it with something positive. Makes it less like deprivation and more like choosing something else.
Precisely. It makes it more appealing, more sustainable. Because the core message, again, isn't technology bad. It's about using it intentionally, being the one in control, not feeling like the tech controls you.
Right. Using it as a tool, not letting it be the master.
That's the goal.
Okay, so as we wrap up this deep dive, maybe the big question for you listening is this. After hearing all this, does it feel like time for you to think a bit more consciously about your digital habits? And maybe more fundamentally, just becoming more aware of where your attention is actually going during the day. Is it where you want it to be?
It's definitely worth considering, because even those small moments you reclaim, those little bits of unplugging, they create space.
Space for what?
Well, space to just connect with your own thoughts again, with what you want to achieve. Space to connect with the actual physical world around you, the stuff that's not on a screen.
That sounds really valuable.
It is.
So maybe take a moment now. After listening, just pause. Perhaps step away from whatever screen you're using, even just for a couple of minutes. See how it feels.
Yeah. Just notice.
Thanks for exploring this with us on The Deep Dive.